Welcome guys in another video. I hope you all are awesome. Today we will talk about the story of Chapter 1. The Old Fisherman of Seaward Bay. The sun rose gently over the calm horizon, staining the water in strokes of orange and pink. Seaward Bay, a small coastal village, smelled of salt, seaweed and early morning hope. Fishermen were already awake, some preparing their nets, others blessing their boats, each praying the sea would be generous that day. Among them was Old Tomas, a fisherman known not for his strength or wealth, but for his endurance. Life had not been kind to Tomas. His wife, Clara, had passed away years ago, and his only daughter was married and living far inland. With little family and little fortune, Tomas lived quietly in a small wooden hut near the beach. Yet every morning, without fail, he walked barefoot across the sand, pushed his frail but sturdy boat into the water, and rowed out into the wide blue. Fishing was more than a livelihood to him. It was the last thread tying him to the memories of the life he once had. That morning, however, Tomas felt something unusual in his chest. Not pain, but a kind of restlessness, like the sea was whispering a secret he had not heard before. He stared at the shimmering water and whispered, "Let today be different. Let it be enough." He climbed into his boat and rowed toward deeper waters. Chapter 2. A Sea That Shows No Mercy. Hours passed. The sun climbed higher, but the sea remained silent. Tomas threw his net again and again, but each time it came up nearly empty, just weeds, shells, and old bits of rope drifting through the water. He wiped sweat from his forehead, frustration knotting his old fingers tightly around the oars. "Nothing again," he muttered. "The sea is growing stingier every day." The other fishermen, farther away, were laughing and pulling up small catches. Nothing large, but enough to fill a basket or two, enough to feed a family, enough to keep hope alive. But Tomas? His luck seemed cursed. He cast his net one more time, praying silently. The rope tightened slightly, not the strong jerk of a large fish, but a faint tug, a sign of life. Tomas pulled carefully. Something glittered inside the net. Something small. Very small. Chapter 3. The Little Golden Fish. When Tomas lifted the net, he saw a tiny fish, not more than the length of his palm, caught inside. But unlike ordinary fish with scales of silver or gray, this one sparkled with golden scales, reflecting the sunlight like pieces of pure gold. The fish wriggled weakly, its scales glowing like a tiny sun trapped in the net. "A golden fish?" Tomas whispered, amazed. "I've never seen anything like you." He reached out gently and picked the fish up. The moment he did, the fish gasped and spoke, in a small, trembling voice. "Good fisherman," it said, "please let me go. I am too small to be of any use to you." Tomas froze. He blinked once, twice. "You speak?" "Yes," said the fish, its tiny voice pleading. "I belong to the deep waters. If you release me, I will remember your kindness." Tomas stared at it for a long moment. He had nothing. No food, no coins, nothing waiting for him at home except an empty pan. The tiny fish might not have been enough for a full meal, but it was something. "Why should I release you?" he asked. "You're small, but you're still a catch. Better a small fish than none at all." The little fish's fins trembled. "But if you let me go, I might repay you one day." "Repay me?" Tomas snorted. "Fish don't repay fishermen. That's not how this world works." The fish looked down sadly, unable to argue. Chapter 4. Hunger versus Hope. Tomas held the trembling fish in his hand. He thought of his empty hut. He thought of his worn-out shoes. He thought of the nights he had slept hungry. He thought of how the sea had been cruel to him for months. "Yes," he whispered, "a small gain is better than losing everything." He placed the fish into a wooden bucket. "I'm sorry, little one," he said quietly, "but I cannot afford kindness right now." The little fish stared up at him, its golden scales dulling with fear. "I understand," it said softly. "Everyone must survive." Tomas rowed back toward shore, unaware that the sea around him darkened for a brief moment, an omen he did not see. Chapter 5. A Village of Growing Doubt. When Tomas returned to the village, the other fishermen noticed his puzzled, weary expression. "What did you catch today, Tomas?" asked Harun, a tall, broad-shouldered man. Tomas sighed. "Just one fish." Harun frowned sympathetically. Hard days, eh? Let's see what you caught. Tomas hesitated. If he showed them the golden fish, they might accuse him of sorcery or insist on claiming it. Villages loved gossip even more than they loved fish. It's nothing, Tomas said quickly. Just a small fish. He walked away before they could question him. Inside his hut, he placed the bucket on his table and stared at the little fish. You're unlike any fish I've ever seen, he murmured. The fish responded weakly. And I will never forget you, fisherman, even if you choose not to free me. Tomas felt a sharp pang of guilt, but hunger overshadowed it. I'm sorry, he said, but you won't even make a full meal. Still, something is better than nothing. Chapter 6. Fate Changes Tide. Before Tomas could prepare his knife, a sudden crash of thunder shook the sky. He looked outside. A storm was forming, fast and unnatural. Waves grew violent, slamming onto the shore with the force of anger. The sky darkened unnaturally, clouds forming a swirling spiral over the sea. The wind howled like a wounded animal. Villagers ran for shelter. What's happening? Shouted Harun as he pulled his children inside. The sea roared louder. Tomas froze. He turned back toward the golden fish and found it glowing brightly. Its voice echoed in the small hut. The Sea Queen has awakened because you caught me. The Sea Queen, Tomas whispered, terrified. She is my mother, said the fish, and she is furious. Lightning split the sky. Chapter 7. The Sea Queen's Wrath. The hut shook as water climbed the shore like fingers of a giant hand. The wind blasted the door open, and through the storm's chaos, a towering figure rose from the water. A woman made entirely of swirling sea foam and crashing waves. Her eyes glowed like deep ocean jewels. Her voice thundered like roaring tides. Tomas, the fisherman, fell to his knees. You dare imprison my child? Tomas trembled. I didn't know. The Sea Queen towered over him, her swirling arms reaching into the hut. I gave your village calm seas for decades, she thundered. I fed your families, and you repay me by capturing my youngest child. Tomas stammered. I was hungry. I had nothing. The Sea Queen's anger flickered for a moment, replaced by something like sorrow. So you took the smallest life you could find? Suddenly the golden fish spoke. Mother! Stop. He meant no harm. The Sea Queen turned to her child. He planned to kill you. He is desperate, said the fish gently. Let mercy guide you. The Sea Queen hesitated. A long silence followed. The storm paused, waiting on her decision. Chapter 8. Mercy of the Deep. Finally, the Sea Queen lowered her hands. Very well, she said. Your words soften my anger. She looked at Tomas. You will release my child now. Tomas nodded quickly and lifted the small fish in his hands. The fish shimmered with healing light as it touched the stormy air. Thank you, it said quietly. But the Sea Queen raised a finger. Do not release him yet. First, fisherman, listen. Tomas swallowed hard. You chose hunger over kindness, she said. Fear over faith. A small fish seemed to you a treasure, but in your choice, you nearly lost everything. Tomas bowed his head in shame. You must learn, she said. The Sea Queen placed her hand on the small fish, who shone brighter. Then she turned to Tomas. In releasing what little you have, you make room for blessings larger than you can imagine. Her voice softened. If you had shown kindness before you were forced, I would have rewarded you greatly. Tomas's heart sank. The Sea Queen continued. But you did not. So your reward will not be wealth, but a second chance. She raised her arm toward the sea, and the storm slowly dispersed. The winds calmed, the waves lowered, and the sky cleared into a peaceful blue. Then she pointed to the basket in Tomas's hut. For your survival, she said. Tomas opened it and found it filled with fresh fish. Not gold, not magical, but enough to last him weeks. A small gift, said the Sea Queen. Not riches, but enough. Tomas bowed deeply. Thank you. I understand now. The Sea Queen nodded, her form dissolving back into the water. And Tomas, she added softly before disappearing, remember, kindness given freely is worth more than gold. The golden fish disappeared into the waves. The sea returned to calm. Chapter 9. A Changed Fisherman. The next morning, Tomas pushed his boat into the water again. Not because he was desperate, but because he had rediscovered his purpose. He rowed with gratitude, not fear. He cast his net with patience, not hunger. And though his catches were small, they were consistent. Enough to live, enough to share. Whenever he caught a fish too small to keep, he gently released it back into the sea. "Grow strong," he'd whisper. "Come back when the time is right." Villagers began to notice. "Tomas," Harun said one day, "the sea has been kinder lately. What changed?" Tomas smiled, eyes soft with meaning only he understood. "I learned that the sea gives more to those who give back." Chapter 10. The Return of the Golden Fish. Years passed. Tomas grew older, but not weaker. The sea had become his companion again. Sometimes generous, sometimes harsh, but always respected. One quiet morning, as he sat in his boat watching the gentle waves, he felt a soft tap on the side of the boat. He looked over. A golden shimmer broke through the surface. The little fish had returned, now grown and radiant, its scales brighter than ever. "Fisherman," it said warmly, "I have come to keep my promise." Tomas smiled, tears rising in his aged eyes. "You owe me nothing." "But I remember kindness," the fish replied, "even when it came late." It flicked its tail, and a chest floated to the surface, wooden, old, and covered with barnacles. "For you," it said, "not because you saved me, but because you learned." Tomas opened the chest and found it filled with pearls, shells of rare beauty, and coins long lost to the sea. But to Tomas, the greatest treasure was not the chest. It was the peace in his heart. The fish dipped back into the water. "Farewell, fisherman," it said softly. "May the sea always be your friend." And it was. For the rest of his life. Thank you guys for watching my video. Please subscribe for more updates. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.